Hello, Freedom Flickers, and welcome to Spaceborne. My name is John Garcia, and along with my son Gavin, we designed the game Spaceborne, a semi-cooperative dexterity game. This video is going to explain the actions that players have available to them, and we'll start. I have it here on the board just to see it in the camera above, but I'll be reading off of this one. So the first action I'm going to talk about, and the most common action that happens in the game, is the flight. So the flight is basically flicking this cool spaceship around the galaxy board. And the way that it works is you're going to need fuel. And this is, again, as we explained in the component video, your fuel, which is it's basically a 1 minute timer. So when you're going to take off, you have to turn on your fuel. Now you're active, now you can fly. So I give this a flick, and that's a great flick. It landed here in open space. In case that camera didn't catch it, let's just put it here. Now, if you land in open space, meaning a tile with no graphic on it, and you traveled 4 or more spaces, you earned yourself a coordinate card at the end of your turn. This is very important. That means it's a successful recon mission, and earning coordinate cards is the only way you're going to find the rare crystals. So as long as you have fuel and you haven't landed on any moon, planet, or satellite, then it's all one continuous flight as long as you have fuel. Meaning I can now flick again, and again, if I go 4 or more, I could earn my second and the maximum of 2 coordinate cards. Now on the third flick, let's just say I see that I'm running low on fuel. I want to try and end up on a moon or a planet, because only on a moon or a planet will I be able to refuel for the next turn as an action. So that's the flight action, and just the key part of it is it's one action, it's one continuous action, no matter how many times you flick, as long as you don't land on a planet, moon, or satellite. Now, if you do land on a turbulent tile, you could pause and play. So you turn the fuel on its side for a second while you read what the turbulent tile is and does until you get familiar with the game, and then you put it back up based on what side of the fuel marker you had up to begin with. All right, so refueling. If a player's spaceship stops on a planet or a satellite, it can refuel if it has actions remaining. And then if you still have actions remaining after that, you can start a new flight. So let's just say on my first action, I'm flying, I do a couple recons, and I land on another planet. Now as an action, I can refuel, so that's 2 actions, and then I can fly again, so that's 3 actions, and I would still have another action left. So you could do more than one flight on a turn if you did it something like that. When you refuel, you're basically going to just turn the timer back over, or just turn it on the side that makes it quicker for you to have a full side, and then just note what side you're going to turn over next, so that you could mark that on your player board with the appropriate marker. So again, we spoke about this in the components, but if you start with the red side up, just put the red marker on the player board. If you start with the gray side up, you put the gray marker on the player board. So fuel is very important. Now let's say you run out of fuel and you didn't land on a moon or satellite. The next turn, you'll have to start with your reserve tank, which is a 30-second timer. So this one runs out much quicker. Now, you're trying obviously to make sure your ship lands at that point in that turn on a moon or on a planet or a satellite, so that you can refuel. If, however, after two turns you do not refuel, you will be completely out of fuel. And then the action is what's basically called the drift, which is the next action. So if the player is out of fuel, they can choose to take a drift action. No fuel is required, but player must still flick their ship 1 tile space and resolve the action. If travels more than 1 tile, then you have to take another flick action until the ship lands 1 away. So for example, if I'm here and I'm just drifting, I ran out of fuel, I could only flick it 1 space. If I flick it 2, I actually have to come back to that spot and make a successful 1 tile flick. So 1, 2, and there I passed it 3. So you're only flicking 1 tile at a time. All right, that's only if you run out of fuel, you'll be drifting. So repair is the next action. If a player's spaceship is on a planet or a satellite, they can repair up to 2 shield resource markers or other repairs as required. So basically you could repair 2 shield markers per action, or you can add 2 weapon tokens back to your board per action. So if you're completely out of shields, for 1 action, you could add up to 2 back. If you want all 4, you would have to take 2 actions, and the same thing with your weapons markers. So weapon reload, if a player's spaceship is on a planet or satellite, they can reload up to 2 weapon markers per action. So those are exactly, you do them exactly the same way, you're just adding different resources to your board. Destroy pirates. If a player's spaceship lands on a tile with pirates, they can destroy 1 pirate per weapon charge. Destroying more than 1 pirate is 1 action. If player's turn ends on a tile with pirates, take 1 damage. So at the end of your turn, so let's just start with the attack action. So if I land on the purple moon, or in this case the blue planet, I'm looking at the tile board over here, and there's two pirates on that. So as long as I have 2 weapons for one action, I could kill those 2 pirates. So it's an attack action, and however many weapons I have, I can kill that many pirates. So if I only had 1 weapon, I'd only be able to kill 1 pirate. Now, if I end my turn on a tile with a pirate and I don't have any actions left, that pirate automatically gives me 1 shield damage. So even if there's 2 or 3 pirates, you would just take 1 shield damage. So you want to be careful where you end your turn. If there's pirates on that tile, either you have actions to take them out, or understand that you're going to take a shield damage if you don't. Let's go back to the shield for a minute, because it's a way that you can lose the game or lose a pilot. So I'm going to bring the player board up here. If you're flying around and you're taking damage and you've lost all of your shields, having no shields is okay, you're still in the game, or that ship is still alive. But if you, at this point, take another damage, if you go basically below 0, that ship is destroyed, and basically you lose that pilot. So if you had 3 pilots at that point, you would be down to 2, and then you'd have to follow the rules of restarting a new player. So we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But basically, that's why the shields are so important. And obviously, the weapons are super important, because without them, you can't destroy the pirates. You need the weapon, in 1 weapon per pirate that you're trying to destroy. Okay, Secret Satellite is an action. So if you were able to do successful recon missions, collect coordinate cards, you had the 5 coordinate cards, let's say, for the orange planet, and you retrieve that crystal, you have to now bring it to the Secret Satellite. This is what the Secret Satellite looks like. It's really cool because it kind of blends in with the background. So this is where the BHL, the black hole limiter, is located, and you have to now, by flick your spaceship over to the Secret Satellite and dock it successfully so that you can deliver the crystal. So delivering the crystal is actually an action. So you could get there, let's say you got there on the 4th action, you'd have to wait to the next turn as an action to deliver that crystal. All right. Reverse course is only for the pro rules. There are 3 modes, as rookie, intermediate, and pro. So basically, reverse means you flicked, you were trying to land on this blue moon, but you went right past it. Now, if you want to go directly back in the direction where you just flicked from, you'd have to reverse course. And in the pro rules, you have to use an action in order to do that. So in the intermediate and the rookie modes, you don't have to use an action to go to basically reverse course. But it is on here as an action on the reference card. The raise a flag. So again, the game is semi-cooperative. Each player starts with 10 flags. If you have as an action an opportunity, if you're on a planet, it could even be your own planet if you're trying to protect it. You can then take as an action, plant a flag or raise a flag and put it on the space tile board on that planet. Having the most flags at the end of the game makes you the ruler of the galaxy, and also having the most flags throughout the game on another player's planet gives you control of their bonus cards and their magic crystal. So not their coordinate cards, but you do get control of other resources, which can be very helpful, obviously, to get you out of a jam. So even though you're working together, it's a way to kind of leverage some of that power and put it to your advantage. Trading intel is giving a coordinate card to another player if you're both on the same planet. So if you have to both be on the same planet, and the person giving the card, it has to be their turn, and they can only give you the card of the color of the planet they're on. So if two players are on the green planet, and I happen to have a green coordinate card, I can give it to that other player, and you would do so because maybe that other player already has more green cards, and he can benefit from you trading with him. So the first one you trade is an action, but the second one you trade actually causes you to be locked on by the pirates and could take a damage. So trading more than one can be a little risky. Pirate Patrol is these pink markers, which are really cool. So if I am on a tile as an action, and any tile, it could be a satellite, it could be a moon or a planet, I could, as an action, place a Pirate Patrol marker on the space tile board, indicating that there's a patrol there. So if at any point a pirate has to be added to that tile, instead of adding the pirate token, you would just remove this patrol. So it's a way to really mitigate, pirates taking over a tile, and if there's, especially if a tile that you want to protect. So Pirate Patrol is very important. And then finding a crystal, of course, is one of the major actions in the game. Once you have 5 matching coordinate cards, except for one of the players can use only 4, the geologist. So once you have 5 matching cards, then you could play them when you get to that planet or discard them, and then earn yourself that crystal. So finding a crystal is an action. And those are all the actions in Spaceborne. Now, again, what's cool about it is you can do an action more than once. So the only action actually that you can only do once per turn is raise a flag. You can only do one raise a flag per turn. So those are all of them. If you have any questions, you could always email us and visit our website for more information. Thanks.